and a new episode of Prepper's Pantry. It is Sunday evening, and I got a couple of chickens in the oven. I already took my bread out of the oven. I've been
washer and dryer going.
The washer and dryer are going, so that's what you hear in the background. And they're both getting ready to go bye-bye. I have to buy a new set. We got our $100 out of this used set that we bought 6 years ago.
On the last leg.
That's it. We've got no choice. I think we need to buy a new set, unfortunately. But anyway, that's what you're hearing in the background. And I'm going to make, all entirely from food storage, a cinnamon apple bread pudding. I had a loaf of cinnamon raisin bread. I'm going to show you what goes into this. But I had baked off a couple of loaves of cinnamon raisin bread a little over a week ago, and these kind of went by the wayside after we started baking the sourdough bread, so that's what it looks like on the inside. So instead of waiting for these to become, I can't really make breadcrumbs out of them. I guess I could, but how often do we need breadcrumbs in a sweet application? Not very often. So I'm making a bread pudding with this one, and I thought I'm going to make this entirely from food storage. So this gives me an opportunity to play with my food storage ingredients, my long-term stuff, and put it together in such a way that my family will actually eat it because it's dessert or breakfast or whatever you want to make. So I'm going to move this bread out of the way really quickly.
Dinner.
Or what?
Or dinner.
Or dinner. Chicken and bread pudding. good. Okay, so what I have here, and I put it on top because this is the Honeyville powdered butter, and I made this. This is what it looks like after you mix it up. This is, it says 3 tablespoons. Is it? Yeah. It's 3 tablespoons of powdered butter and 1 teaspoon of warm water. So this is actually 6 tablespoons of powdered butter and 1 teaspoon of warm water. This is not butter for eating. It does not taste that good. I think if you didn't have any butter and you really wanted to try it, it tastes more like a whey product.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Rick just made the eggnog face. For those of you who may not know what the eggnog face is, every year when eggnog comes out, Rick seems to think he needs to try it, even though he knows he hates it, and he makes the eggnog face. Okay, so this is our butter. I'm only going to use it, in the custard. So it doesn't matter. We're not going to eat this like that. So I wanted to show you that that was the egg. That's what it looks like when it is reconstituted. And I think that the longer it sits, the more of a buttery consistency it may get, but it's very grainy right now, and it doesn't taste very good at all. So let me move this out of the way. The next thing we have out are the whole powdered eggs. And what I'm going to do, what you do basically is 2 to 1. 1 part egg powder, 2 parts water. So I want to use 8 eggs. So that's 16 tablespoons of egg powder. 16 tablespoons is 1 cup. When you're cooking like this, you're going to have to do a little math, much to my dismay. I'm just going to use this same cup here. So I'm going to need 2 cups of water, and then we're going to have our egg mixture. Let me get out my whisk. And I did use slightly warm water. I did not use cold water. It dissolves better when you use warm water. And if you're going to make this into scrambled eggs anyway, it's going to get hot, so it doesn't matter. For my milk, rather than using powdered milk, I decided to use evaporated milk. I think evaporated milk has a nicer texture, and since I'm making a custard, and I just have the can out here to show you, what I have is I have 2 cans of evaporated milk here, these are 1.5 cups each, so 2 cans makes 3 cups, and I added water to make 4 cups because we're making a basic simple custard, which is 1 cup of milk, 2 eggs, and then your sugar, and you're getting your corn and the apple juice over here, sweetheart. So let's go ahead and add our evaporated milk into our eggs. Give that a whiskey. Oh, not whiskey, a whisk. But you can add whiskey to this if you want to. I'm not going to.
No beer.
No beer. And no bacon either.
Hey.
Hey! Yeah, I know. Alright, and then we're going to add, how sweet do you want this? I'm going to add cup and a half of sugar. Because we have something else I'm going to put in here that's going to kick up the sweetness level. So now we have the equivalent of 8 eggs, 4 cups of milk, 1.5 cups of sugar. You can kick it up to 2 cups if you like. I'm going to give it a good squeeze of vanilla because I don't think you can ever have too much vanilla. And that's some vanilla I've had in my cupboard that I really need to use up. So this gets set to the side right now, along with this. Now what we have next is, these are apples from the LDS Cannery. My neighbor is a member of the LDS Church. And since in North Carolina there is only one cannery and it is 5 hours away from where I live, his church once a year does a group buy. And they send a group of volunteers, goes to the cannery, and they take orders, and they prepare your order, and they bring it back here, and you can, my neighbor brought it to me, but you can go pick it up from the church. And they're very happy to let you do that. So I'm very fortunate to have him as a neighbor, and even more fortunate that we like him and he likes us and all of that. So what I have here is some of those apples. These, and this is a new can I opened up because I finished off another one. And these apples are positively addicting.
Mm-hmm. Like candy.
You can't leave this out open because they'll be gone in a day. They're so yummy. Make sure you leave this oxygen absorber in the can, especially if you live in a humid area, because if you don't, you end up with really mushy apples. But you can also seal them in a mason jar with the food saver.
And what do you want?
Really, Sam? I don't think you'll eat it. Sissy ate it.
Uh-huh.
You better get it. Sissy's gonna get it.
Oh, get the other
Here
one.
comes the other one. Okay, so here. Here you go. Alright, so back to what we were doing. I didn't measure the apples. I simply have 2 big handfuls in here. And a cup of raisins. And what I had a half a gallon of apple cider in my fridge from Christmas time, actually before, that I really needed to use up because it was the fresh pressed apple cider from the grocery store. So,
It is really good.
I heated it up 2 cups in the microwave. And I'm just gonna put this in here. Let me grab a spoon. And, or whatever. Yeah. And I'm just gonna let these sit here while we do the rest of our pudding. Because these apples, they'll plump back up really quick. I'm just gonna set these off to the side. And I'm gonna bring my bread in here. What I wanna do is cube this up. Now I know most of you know how to make bread pudding. Maybe some of you don't. I had several people over the holidays, you know, send me messages asking me if I had a good recipe for bread pudding. You know, bread pudding is really whatever you want it to be. You can add whatever dried fruits you like. Sissy, get down. And to the gentleman who cannot any longer post comments on my channel, I don't even remember what his wicked name was, who yelled at me for having my dogs in my kitchen and telling me that I needed to wash my hands and that he was a unit leader for some restaurant chain where he lived, that he would fire me. Well, that's fine. I'm not working for you. And he had nothing on his channel. You know what? I really don't give a crap what you think. My animals are part of my family. And if you know, if you live in a body condom and completely hermetically sealed atmosphere, guess what? You're exposed to germs. And I wouldn't trade the love of my animals for anything in the whole world. So I don't really care. You don't get to come to my kitchen anymore and talk. You can just watch and suffer. I don't care.
Oh, Sissy.
Uh-oh.
Oops. Sammy, get to it.
He left comments on 4 of my videos, and I removed every single one of them. And I just wanted to talk about that because sometimes it's just a little much. Don't drop the knife. And remember, we got a lot of bread and we got a lot of custard. So the bread is going to soak all this up and it's going to be really yummy. And yes, I left the crust on my bread. I think it's ridiculous to waste it. For a long time. Now, I lived with my parents after I separated from my first husband for a year and a half. My daughters at the time were 4 and 6. Well, they were 2 and 4 when we moved in with them. My mother insists on cutting the crust off of her bread, and I think that is incredibly wasteful. And she would do it for my girls. And Molly, for a long time, insisted that the crust be cut off her bread. I broke her of that really fast. Now both my girls will eat the crust. The crust is the best part, in my opinion. And I understand if you want to, cut the crust off your bread, that's entirely your choice. I'm not dissing you for it. I'm just saying. In my house, I think we're going to learn how to eat the crust. All right. Now, here's our apples. And I'm just gonna use my hands, which I previously washed, for everyone who thinks I don't wash my hands before I cook. All right. Now, let's just mix this up in here. I realize, what this looks like, but I don't feel like getting out a giant bowl to mix this in when I can just put it right here in the pan, and it's going to be lovely. And your hands are your best tools in the kitchen, plain and simple. Now, here's this stuff that's supposed to pass for butter, right?
Can't believe it's not butter.
I don't think I'll be buying any more of this. I'm just going to can my own butter like Cat's Cradle does, because number one, it's real butter. And, there are a few things in life, butter is just wonderful stuff. And if you have canned butter, you can do this with canned butter. Just do it with that. Okay, here's some cinnamon. Excellent. Now, this custard. I'm gonna just put a dash of salt in there. That isn't even an eighth of a teaspoon. But you gotta have a little salt when you're making sweet things. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start pouring this over. And you can pour it directly from the bowl, your choice. I just feel like I'm gonna try and get some coverage here. Now I have my oven. I got my chickens in the oven. And I had them going at like 425, but I need to turn it down. I've turned it down so my oven is 350. And then we're going to put this in the oven. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil and some parchment paper. And before you go ask me questions, I put the parchment paper on here because I don't want the aluminum foil, which is much thinner version of aluminum than this pan, touching my food. It's up to you. You do whatever works for you. I'm using the pan just for ease of cleanup. And look at how perfect that is. Absolutely perfect. Let me move this out of the way too. I actually think I'm going to put a little more cinnamon on top of that. There you go. And I'm going to cover this with foil. I had some foil out. No.
Parchment paper.
parchment paper. All right. Like that. That smells really good already. The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little quarter sheet pan because this fits in there just perfectly, just like that. It doesn't take up any extra room. So into my 350-degree oven. Whoa. In just a moment. Wow.
Why is that?
My chicken pan just shifted and it just kind of freaked me out a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh. All right. Into the oven with the custard, bread pudding. I'm gonna let that take a nice warm nap for about an hour. And then when we come back, I'm gonna take off the foil. I'll show you what it looks like when we take the foil off, and then we're gonna bake it for another 15 or 20 minutes just to get the top nice and crispy. So I'll be back when it's time to do that. All right, our bread pudding has been in this oven for about an hour. Now I'm just gonna take the foil off of it. Oh, and look how puffy it is. Woo. And we're gonna take off that. And I'm gonna put it back in the oven. And I'm gonna let it cook for another 15 or 20 minutes. At which point we will come back and I'll show you what it looks like. It has been about an hour. But we went and we ate dinner, and before I ate dinner, I turned off the oven so that this would be just fine. I'm gonna grab a spoon because I want you to see what it looks like. It's still gonna be soft right now, but
And we're too full from dinner anyway.
yeah, I just want to show you what this looks like. It smells wonderful. Look at that. And you can see the apples down in here, and the raisins, the cinnamon bread, and it smells amazing. Mm-hmm. It really does. And no, that tastes pretty good too. Okay, there you have it. Cinnamon swirl bread pudding entirely from food storage and leftovers. You didn't have to go get anything special. Everything you needed was right in your pantry. I hope this inspires you and encourages you to try something like this on your own, whether it's bread pudding or something else that you love. Take what you have in your food storage, in your pantry, and adapt it and make it the way that you would normally make it, except don't use anything fresh. Use everything that you can out of the pantry. So, I hope that you will rate, comment, and subscribe if you like what you see. Until next time, I'll see ya.